I think companies right now need to know that they have to plan for this. They have to have a path that truly shows their maintenance teams that this is a career, not just a job. They have to have all of the aspects of showing that now in order for those maintenance people to stay and want to stay and not just, job hop because someone next door has 50 cents more an hour. There has to be a bigger incentive for companies to keep their maintenance teams right there. And that's one of the things that is making Allied Residential step out as a leader in our area, in our industry right now, is because we understand that. I have a motto that I'd like to share that I like to use, and I call it our ACE in the hole for maintenance success. And the ACE is appreciate, compensate, and educate. If you have all three of those aspects for your maintenance teams, you will be successful in this industry. You have to show your maintenance teams that they are appreciated. We need to compensate them properly. That's something that's been an issue for a very long time. And have a path for their education and show them that this is a career. Do you have that path to say, what steps do I need to take to go from a groundskeeper to a maintenance tech? Or a maintenance tech to a maintenance supervisor to project manager? Are you just floating around and kind of hoping that that falls into place at some point? Or is there an actual path? 25 years ago, property management companies might have still been able to be successful with 2 out of those 3. Maybe you appreciated your people and maybe you compensated them, but you didn't have an education plan, or maybe, whatever the 2 might have been, and it was still fine and still acceptable. But now I think this industry has changed to where all 3 are required to truly be a successful property management company.
What are some things that your company specifically does to attract great talent and also to retain?
I'd have to say, I think it starts with the hiring process in itself. That's where potential employees are making their first impression of this company. And or whatever company it is. So, if you're going to start out, and you need to have a true hiring process, not just throw it out there, on Indeed or however you're going to do these advertisements for things. Do you have a process? Is that candidate that applies going to sit there for weeks before they hear anything back from anybody or anything like that? Are you truly getting right back with them, following up with them, doing immediate interviews and follow-up interviews, and starting the job process as soon as possible? I think that immediately shows the candidate that, they're hiring on to a company that is established and that has this path. That makes them feel more comfortable to want to stay. One of the things that we established first off was a mentor-mentee program. People that are hiring on or applying to Allied Residential right now, they don't necessarily need to have any maintenance experience. What we developed is what we call a maintenance response team. So right now we have 14 employees that any of our 158 properties can contact and schedule for any of their additional maintenance needs. So they can travel, basically, if you will. It's not just maintenance that we need. It needs to be an all-encompassing training for that position. So that's one thing that I think that's really helping us succeed right now with Allied, is having that mentor-mentee program for people to know they don't necessarily have to have these, college degrees or 10 years in maintenance experience. We have a path to get them going.
You made me super curious about 2 things: the maintenance response team, and then how can we get to the Jed Talks? Super curious about that too. How can we access them? If we can, it's not just an internal thing.
It's an internal thing right now. Doesn't mean it needs to stay an internal thing, but yeah, they're basically focused around Allied Residential and what our Allied Residential teams need for that time. So again, what they do is we have a true schedule. Any property can go on and click the schedule and just say what they need. Maybe they need, some support with turns. Maybe they have a bunch of appliances being delivered. They all have to go to the 3rd floor. Maybe they need some pressure washing. Whatever that might be, they go on the schedule, and then we assign the schedule based on not only where the maintenance technician lives so that they can try to be as close to home, but also what they like to do. We have employees that, love to paint and hate to pressure wash. And then another person that, loves to pressure wash, hates to paint, whatever it is. Put them in those circumstances that they want to be in, right? Like whenever possible, they're going to do a better job. They're going to be better all around on that property for ownerships, for the residents, for the staff. Always be looking for the new thing. Our teams might check that box to say, yep, I did this report or I did this unit turn to keep my job. What are you doing to look for what's next for your next, job or your next step in your career? Always be looking for those steps. We have a huge opportunity right now in our industry because of the difficulties that we're having with, hiring staff. If you have the drive and the grit, you can come into this industry and move up